right, here we go. A Sunday afternoon podcast, live, coming off of an incredible, in many ways, AEW All Out. What's going on? It's Mr. Young.
Oh my God, it's foreign. Still in the new building, still getting used to my new building and surroundings. But
Bro.
man, yo.
It's been a week. I have to ask you, why haven't you decorated? Where is the standee? Where are the title belts? Where are the books? And most importantly, my friend, where is the hand lotion?
Oh my God, bro. First of all, I don't have hand lotion, but I have new things to share with you. I got banana.
Look at your banana so small. Oh my God, that sounded weird. Take it out of context. Why your banana so small? What's that, like a plantain lah? That's a plantain lah, bro.
Bro, it's a jalan besar banana, bro.
Why?
I think they sell it smaller. Even though it's called jalan besar, but it's kecil ada banana.
Okay, you enjoy. I take it that is your lunch. You've had a busy morning, entertaining guests in your new house. Yeah.
I somehow convinced my dad and my brother to sit down and watch AEW All Out. At least the first few matches.
Okay.
So,
hey, have they watched AEW? Because I take it that you know, because you're such a big wrestling fan, right? At some point they must have watched some AEW, or are they just pure WWE guys?
No, they just know that I love CM Punk because CM Punk is like all over my house, and probably whatever their context of wrestling is probably through like hearing my screens and my speakers. They definitely hear a lot of Jim Cornette around the house because I always play Jim Cornette's podcast while I'm having dinner. So that's their context of wrestling lah. To that extent.
I got you. I appreciate everybody dropping by on a different time slot on a Sunday afternoon. Alfred, how you doing? Zayden, good to see you. HS Lee, what's up? Rishi, let's go.
Yo, curious to know, guys. Do you guys like this Sunday, like the time slot, or do you guys prefer our Tuesday? We are just kind of experimenting with times and also fitting our schedule. So I hope you guys don't mind all this whiplash.
I know, right? But okay, to be honest though, I enjoy talking about pay-per-views and PLEs after they happen because there's that recency, that freshness about it, right? Like after a few days, usually things set in. You come off the high, you become a little bit more analytical. Whereas wrestling, I think, is best talked about after the fact. Like immediately you get the high of wow, like you feel good. Like after Bash in Berlin, right? Like it felt good talking about it immediately.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like I think for PLE or pay-per-view shows, if you can do it right after, there's that recency, and I think our emotion will probably be more stronger. We can react live, and I think like maybe. Yeah, on a normal episode weeks, we probably can be more analytical in our process, right?
And we talked about it last week too. I feel like also what makes an event good, right, is the taste it leaves in your mouth after you finish. It's not so much about the execute. Yeah, great matches are great matches, right? Well-built stories, well-told stories are great and all that. But also like, what are the moments? How did it make you feel?
Yeah.
And let me just give you a spoiler lah. I have a very bitter taste in my mouth. I mean, look, we've given props to AEW when they put on great pay-per-views, right? Remember we talked about All In and how they give us great moments. This pay-per-view made me cringe so many times, and not in a good way.
Okay, let's give some context to our listeners right now. Like, to be fair, we kind of like are covering for each other's gaps for the time that we weren't watching this morning, right? So like I was up early. I actually had a 0 hour playing on the background while waiting for my parents or my dad and my brothers came over for the first time to see my new house. So I really give them context. Hey guys, we need to wrap up at 12 o'clock. I need to go do my podcast. And while we are catching up, I'm going to play AEW All Out in the background, right? So to be fair, I watched like 0 hour all the way until probably like Will Ospreay and Pop, and then I had to kind of like focus on my family. Right. My understanding, you picked up right after I left off, right?
I know the universe is looking out for us, bro. The universe like, okay, if Foreign is only going to have time to watch the first half, Mr. Young, you get to watch the second half, which is what I did. And I don't know, maybe your experience is completely different from mine. And bear in mind, right? Like I always say this, they always deliver value for money, correct? For All In, I didn't feel bad paying $35. This one, I felt bad paying $35. I got pissed off.
Okay.
In so many ways.
So starting off right off the bat, well, before we dive right in, I would love for our listeners to give us their thoughts as well, like grades. We're going to preface it as well. Share us your comments while we dive through each match, yeah?
Put up your hand if you didn't watch AEW All In. Because I swear, if I said put up your hand, if you did watch, it will be no comments whatsoever, okay?
Come on.
Because here's the thing, and I don't say that to be a dick. Well, maybe a little bit. But,
okay.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I feel like, once again, it's that problem of too much too soon. We just came off of an incredible All In.
Yeah,
you know,
correct.
2 weeks later, you want to do another pay-per-view. Only us hardcore fans will be the ones paying the money. Beyond that, your mainstream, like, casuals, quote unquote, right?
Yep.
They're not going to give a crap.
I understand TK's thought process, right? He said he wanted to take advantage of like the bank holiday in London and also, is it a Labor Day holiday or some sort of holiday, right?
Last week was Labor Day weekend, but they didn't want to do back-to-back,
Especially in Berlin as well was on that day. So, okay, I get it, but I feel like you risk burning out your audience. I remember WWE used to do this. Remember WWE did SummerSlam and there was payback 2 weeks later or something?
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was just...
You need time for the storylines to develop. And we talked about it last week too. They don't have a system where they have B storylines, C storylines to, it's the same stuff, right? And they rush quite a lot of it. That said, we will get to All Out in just a few moments, but there are some things that we want to chat about before we get there. We'll do it quickly. We won't go too long into it. It's a Sunday after all. We don't want to take up too much of your time. First of all, let's talk about that big announcement, the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix. Okay, this to me,
shit.
bro, I love Netflix documentaries. Obviously, I love pro wrestling. We've grown up watching it. Like, it's going to be so interesting. And I know what Netflix is doing lah. Netflix is trying to bump up
interest,
excitement and interest for the art of pro wrestling by doing this, because their documentaries are always hits.
I also would argue that with whatever drama or shit that's going to go down with Vince McMahon that has happened and might go down in the future, this is probably their way to try to kind of separate Vince McMahon from WWE in a way.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
I think from Netflix perspective, right? To them, at first I was like, wait a minute, you are bringing Raw, the pro wrestling product, to your platform soon. Why are you putting a sour note on it? But I think to Netflix, any publicity is good publicity. And they are hoping that no matter how, that's okay. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's an objective documentary or it's a fluff piece trying to make Vince McMahon. I think it's going to be like right down the middle. So like a lot of Netflix documentaries, it will usually end with, so, ultimately the court case is still going on. So you make the choice lah. You decide lah. That's sort of an ending.
Yeah. No, the thing is, I feel like it's very clear from the trailer. And bro, great trailer, by the way. It really if I'm a non-wrestling fan, no idea, I'm like, oh, this is a very interesting true crime drama.
Yes.
Yeah, but just from the way it's laid out, right, I think they were already, and they have announced that they have been recording this for quite a while, judging by how Vince McMahon was doing piece to cameras for it, right?
Yeah.
And probably somewhere, like maybe they were 70% done, and then all this shit went on, they were like, fuck, I have to pivot, have to record more.
Bro, then they are like, oh my God, yes, this is the cliffhanger we need. That's what they went.
Probably. Do you remember the last time this happened in wrestling, right? I think it was Wrestling with Shadows, right?
Oh, yeah. Then the Montreal screw job happened, right?
Right in the middle of them recording the life of, Bret Hart.
Yes.
So, bro, if it was anything to the level of Wrestling with Shadows, I'm like, documentary of the year, bro.
Yeah. But you see, once again, and it serves a different purpose as well. It also brings back the lapsed fan. The lapsed fan remember Vince McMahon growing up, right? As the announcer, as the Mr. McMahon character. And then finally, like, to realize that, oh, he did all this weird shit. Like, what the, you know what I mean? All these allegations, and Netflix documentaries, they're very good at selling the next episode or teasing what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's going to get people interested in pro wrestling, and therefore leading into when WWE comes to Netflix.
It's perfect, bro. And if you saw I wish we could react to the trailer live right now, but if you still remember how it went down, the very first person they showed right after Vince McMahon, do you know who he was?
Was it The Rock?
Yes.
Of course, The Rock has to be in all these damn things lah. Walao.
Bro, the first 3 piece to cameras, right, was right after Vince McMahon, it was The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, John Cena. They know their audience, bro. Get the most mainstream, high-profile names to be in the front of the camera first.
Of course, this is at the end of the day, they're trying to catch everybody, right? Catch everybody's imagination. They're not going to put, as much as we love Triple H, he will be one of the later
supporting
players. Yeah, you got to put the big stars up front so that you'll catch people, make people want to watch.
Yeah, but bro, Chris Benoit appearing. What do you think about that?
Shit, man. I don't see how in depth are they going. They did mention the steroid trial, Chris Benoit. I'm sure they'll bring out Janelle Grant, right? And then there was the other female ref. Was it a female ref? Another lady, but that one was swept under the rug long time ago. That one. So
yeah, Rita Chatterton. I still remember the name.
Okay, yeah. I know this is a bit of a pivot, but have you watched the documentary on Netflix called Dirty Pop?
No, I
Dirty
haven't.
Pop. So it's about the guy, I forgot his name, this manager, right? Who was the one who created the Backstreet Boys, In Sync. And at first I thought, this documentary about maybe he formed boy bands, maybe he a bit shady. And then it turned out to be this whole fraud case. It was like,
oh shit.
I know, it completely, for some reason, I didn't even realize all this was happening while it was happening in real life, right? And then now this documentary comes out, and then suddenly it makes me nostalgic to want to listen to the Backstreet Boys In Sync. Bro, it's the exact same thing that's happening now in the pro wrestling context.
So it's like they talk about all the pop corruption, all the drama, all that maybe scandals that they're having behind the scenes. And then, almost in a way, you're reliving your childhood, but seeing it from a different lens, right?
Yeah.
Or like your youth. It's such a great way. And I think that formula works because I've heard so many people who were like, I have no interest in F1, but then I watched Drive to Survive and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like into it right now.
Bro, Drive to Survive made F1 fans. Like, I know several people who were not F1 fans until that show came out.
And remember a few years ago, one of the biggest sports documentaries that came off the pandemic period. Remember that? Mm-hmm. The last dance? Was it Last Dance? No.
The basketball, Michael Jordan's thing.
Michael Jordan's, yeah. Was it The Last Dance, right?
It was The Last Dance.
Yeah. Undertaker was the last, right? Yes, I remember that.
But by the way, the name of the manager, Lou Pearlman. Ooh, he created Backstreet Boys, In Sync, Old Town, a lot of the boy bands we all know and love from the 90s. And it turned out he had none of the money that he actually had. Everything was built on empty promises. It's incredible. Like, he scammed his way into pop stardom.
But how did were the Backstreet Boys being paid? Were the NSYNC guys, did they still became successful and got their money? Or
So they obviously thought that this guy was just amazing until this all came to light. It was a fascinating, bro. You gotta check out that documentary. Do you know that he essentially created NSYNC just to compete with his own Backstreet Boys?
The fuck.
He knew the market was hot for boy bands, bro. Anyway, we're talking about boy bands on Friggin' Wrestling Podcast, but I guess it relates to what we're talking about, the Vince McMahon documentary. It's a brilliant move by Netflix to get people excited in the pro wrestling product.
And I heard it's coming up really soon. I think it's just end of September, and they're going to release all 6 episodes, guys.
Bro, we are going to watch it one shot, bro.
Bro, watch party per guys. Let's go.
All right. Let's go. Oh my God.
Okay, but before we dive into that nonsense, there's other stuff we need to talk about as well. Gaddafi, you brought up a great point, bro. We should have just bought the bundle, bro. $49 for All In and All Out.
You see, originally I didn't want to watch All Out.
That was the thing. Okay. Full disclosure, guys. Actually, we were planning to take a break during this week because we were thinking I just moved in, and then Young has his stuff with your dad, right? To take care of. So we were like, okay I can take 1 week break. Then what's happening this weekend? Then we were like, it's All Out. Oh man, it's All Out. How? So we made an executive decision last night to you know what? Let's just watch it. So to be fair, yes, we weren't planning to review it even, but now that we've put the money where our mouth is. I think it's only fair we review it based on our thoughts on the show, right?
Sure. And we'll get to that in just a short moment. But very quickly, what do you think of the final SmackDown on Fox? And then they're moving to the USA. The first match in the new SmackDown USA era. Solo, no era, Sikoa. No aura. Solo, no aura, Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes.
Oh my God! Did you see SmackDown and that segment, bro?
Yes, I did.
Did you see when Solo was saying, "All right, I'll challenge you"?
Cricket.
Complete silence. Him and Bobby Fish can compete for the one with no reaction.
Bro, I feel bad. They're trying, and he's not actually a bad wrestler. Like, he's probably one of the better ones out of the entire Bloodline family, extended family even.
Okay. Maybe we've always praised the Bloodline storyline, right? But if there's one thing I feel like they did a mishap on, right?
Yep.
They make everything revolve around Roman so much that, okay, I'm not talking about Jay or Sammy because they managed to break free, right?
Yep.
But like people like Solo, right? The only reason people are having heat or reaction towards him is because of what he did to Roman. Is what he did in effect or in consequence of Roman. There's nothing about him himself that people want to be compelled. Like, I wish they did like a feature or like him growing out, trying to break up from his brother. You know, that kind of shit. He didn't.
They keep talking about he's a street champion, right? And that's a throwback from his NXT days. But what does that even mean? He's a street champion. You know, like they've never actually developed, like you said, that whole storyline. And this is very telling, right? The fact that the only time he gets heat, and he's become quite a legit heat magnet in the sense that he only gets "we want Roman" chance.
His
that's
heat
right. Is entirely dependent on Roman Reigns.
That's my point. That's my point. Exactly what I mean. And when you say street champion, the only street champion I acknowledge is my one and only. No, not Tonggal.
Bro, but if you're going to acknowledge anybody, it better be our tribal chief. True tribal chief.
Okay. No. I mean, you as a UFC OG, you remember Kimbo's Slice, right?
Oh, okay, yeah,
No, that's
the
what
street champion.
That's a real street champion, bro. If there's some BTS of Solo going around and like beating up guys in the street for random fights, then I will trust him. But he got no aura, bro. I trust Jacob Fatu as a street champion more.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, right? Like literally everybody says Jacob Fatu has a million times more aura than Solo Sikoa. So, maybe they're doing this on purpose. Maybe they're trying to build Jacob Fatu to a point where he can turn on Sola and he can, finally get the heat as it were.
Yeah, I agree. And also, just to kind of wrap up my thoughts, to me, SmackDown on Fox was an era, right?
Yeah.
They were doing like a throwback on like the very first night, and bro, WWE has changed for the better.
Way better. Wasn't the first night The Rock coming back and then Becky? That was a segment with Rock, Becky, and Baron Corbin, right? Yeah.
Bro, it was Rock, Becky, Baron Corbin. Remember, it was Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston, that squash.
Remember that cool ass intro set though that they had, the archers with the blue? What happened to that?
Cool. They moved away from it. Yeah, I thought that was one of the things that made it cool.
Yeah.
They had AC/DC playing it. And remember the last part, they had Cain Velasquez came out to challenge. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
They tried something there. They tried it. They fumbled it. Whatever.
It was clear imprints of Vince McMahon though. Like very clear. He had his hands all over it.
It was the worst of VKM. Almost. That era of wrestling was the worst of VKM.
Yeah, because, right, okay, I mean, AC/DC aside, I've always associated AC/DC with Vince McMahon because I heard he's such a big fan of that band.
Is it?
Yeah, but it was 2019. Like, bro, I'm not saying AC/DC is like, they are old, but bro, it's not in trend. Like, unfortunately,
But Iron Man managed to make AC/DC cool. Every time the Iron Man would show up, he was blaring AC/DC, if you remember.
Yes, but it was Iron Man that made AC/DC cool. AC/DC can't make wrestling cool.
Bro, we got AC/DC slander up in the podcast today. What is going on, man?
Bro, I love AC/DC. Come on. Okay, but anyway, the point is, right, like that era, I think it was the first time that WWE had such a big platform because Fox is considered free TV, right? Or is it considered it's not cable?
Yeah, no, it's free TV because they have affiliates. So you could literally use the rabbit ear antenna if you are in some backwards county or whatever, you can get it from free TV off the air.
You're right. So it's equivalent of Singapore context. So it's like Channel 5. You open Channel 5, you can suddenly see wrestling, right?
Yeah, sure.
But the thing about USA Network is cable. So it's like you have to go have a Singtel account, you can watch. That's what my understanding is, right? So they actually, this last 5 years, they had this big ass exposure with Fox. But it's clear the reason why they're moving away from Fox because Fox feels that they never get their return on their investment, unfortunately. And they had to kind of like close ranks and go back to a cable channel. So in a way, it's like an admission of defeat, but I think they benefited from that 5 years of huge ass exposure though.
For sure, because all of a sudden now you have all the links and connections with like other sports, right? And it makes the product sound and look more sports-like. Sports-like presentation, right? If, Michael Cole is pitching to, NASCAR is coming up in the next week, American football. It's a very Americana thing that they can gravitate to. It's not so much for us, like we don't give a fuck, right?
Yeah, but it does benefit the American audience. And secondly, now if you think back, you understand why the Bloodline was primarily a SmackDown exclusive storyline for the longest time, because they needed that main top guy to be on Fox for that exposure.
But bro, now, like you talked about, it's a completely different landscape, right? Now they're moving to Netflix. That's even bigger than, terrestrial TV or antenna TV or whatever you want to call it. Because let's face it, most of us don't watch Channel 5 or 8 anymore. We just watch Netflix. We watch Disney Plus, a streaming service with Raw, SmackDown. Bro, that changes the game.
It is a game changer. So even though SmackDown is back on USA Network, they hold ground on that. But like Netflix is that extra, like that terrestrial, that's the next frontier. And I think if you can tell, wrestling's on an uptick because of this Netflix thing. It's like the perfect timing, bro. It's really the perfect timing to have wrestling back.
Let me correct you. WWE wrestling is on the uptick.
Ooh.
I know it might be a hot take, right? But because of their connections, because of TKO, because they're literally putting all their brands, all their ambassadors, quote unquote, their wrestlers are their ambassadors, right, out there in the mainstream.
Yeah, I think we forget that today is supposed to be an AEW review show.
Oh, well, I mean, is there anything? Okay, well, to be fair, is there anything else we need to chat about in the wrestling world other than?
Okay, like what would you feel is the legacy of SmackDown on Fox? Because for me, it's literally the Bloodline storyline that's dominated these 5 years, right?
Agree. Yeah, that was literally the most, and it was Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, let's be real. Because Roman Reigns was the one holding it down.
Yeah, and I feel like that would be the legacy. And I think Netflix, I'm pretty sure the Bloodline storyline might become Netflix. I think they're going to switch roles. Yeah, that's my thought.
Definitely, they're going to put all their eggs in the Netflix basket. I mean, they'll still maintain on USA. You know what I mean? They have a great working relationship and all that. But yeah, confirm Raw will see some of the hottest storylines because they are on the new platform. Yeah. I'm pretty sure when The Rock comes back, it's going to be on Raw. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, John Cena in his retirement run is going to be on Raw.
Oh, yeah. Bro, there's so many moving parts. And don't forget about the other shows as well, bro. You're going to have, just in the next couple of weeks, NXT on the CW, right? I always know CW from all the Marvel shows, like the
DC
Flash
shows, bro. I don't believe you just said please take away this man's superhero cred card.
Fuck lah, bro. Okay. To be fair, the best shows there was only the Arrow and Flash, probably like the first few seasons.
This fella going to say Teen Titans part of the Avengers next. What the hell, bro? Come on, man. Okay, but I get your point. Like CW is that channel, right? It has that vibe, and it's perfect for NXT, I feel.
I think it is. And don't forget, bro, the first few shows, you got to have one in Chicago with CM Punk, one in Missouri with Randy Orton.
Yep.
My boy, Dante Chan's going to be there somehow. I'm pretty sure he's going to have some sort of, bro, it's time for him to get into that mix, bro. It's perfect time.
Very quickly, because you brought up NXT, Giulia, everybody's favorite new female wrestler, because look at her. Haven't even seen her wrestle once, and she has become everybody's favorite already. What did you think of Giulia's? Why you laugh, bro?
No, I don't.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth, though? Is it?
No,
look, she is a very attractive lady, right? Let's just put it out there.
It's not even that. It's the fact that I saw this thread on Twitter, right, which echoes your exact sentiments, bro.
Right.
Right now, the biggest fans of Giulia are people who never watched her wrestle before.
It's true. I consider myself one of those, So, hey, I'm not putting any shade on that. I'm like, I'm with y'all. I understand it, right? But I will say, I have to say this. Because if you didn't know, she's, what is she? Is she Italian or something? But she was born in Japan?
No, she's Italian-Japanese. I think her dad is Angmo, mom is Japanese. And then I think she was born in London, but then she moved to Japan when she was like 4 or 5, and then she went through school in Japan.
So, but she was raised in Japan. That's why she like Angmo, but has a Japanese accent lah. That's the whole thing. She can't really speak English all that much, right? It's a Japanese wrestling thing. The faces, we've talked about this before. How Shinsuke, how Kairi, how Asuka, how Io all have this really weird, like this facial, this, I don't even know how to express it. Like, just,
I'm not gonna say anything because it might be misconstrued as racist, so I shall
no,
refrain.
no, it is part of the wrestling style there or whatever it is, but their facial expressions are very weirdly exaggerated.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
I think it works for their audience.
Sure.
But
Yes.
it's just like what you can't be normal like outside. I don't know why. Maybe
Like-
there's that heightened drama from anime, maybe.
Like, you know what I mean, right? Like everything about it looks like awkward and fake.
Like, okay, for example, like, when Shinsuke does all his like they call it vibrations, the good vibrations, right?
Yeah.
Then his face like, and then I realized, right, and this is just purely from observation. Okada does the same face, bro.
Yes.
It's really, I'm sorry, they got it's the same face.
Yeah, and then Io does the whole like, Giulia does it too. Kyrie kind of does it. Actually, Kyrie is the least. Has the least of these weird. I don't know what. Okay, somebody who watches New Japan, please not New Japan, sorry, Stardom. Please explain this to us. What is up with these facial expressions? Is it an anime thing? I think it is.
Maybe they're trained as geishas, bro. Maybe all of them have to do like some sort of like performative, interpretive dancing as training,
That's a very good word. It's very performative. It takes me out because maybe we are so used to North American wrestling. Like, I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of North American wrestlers who have bad acting, also like Young Bucks. But there's just this style when the Japanese wrestlers are there. It just what is going on?
Yeah, man. All right. Hey, Div just joined us. She asked, what did I miss? So far, we haven't started our All Out review yet. So it's all preamble. We just discussed Netflix. We just discussed Vince McMahon, SmackDown on Fox for the last episode. And now we're talking about Giulia, our new favorite female wrestler that most of you guys have never watched wrestle before. Yes.
So, okay, she came out and challenged Roxanne Perez. I think... Roxanne needs new challengers, and with the hype behind Giulia, it makes sense. It's interesting that they're throwing Chelsea Green in the mix as well. I think Chelsea is really, really over right now with the NXT audience. I don't know if you watch SmackDown.
Yeah, I did. So Chelsea is very interesting. I feel like she on her own is a great character. She enhances every show she's in. But at the main roster, she's more of like a mid-carder. Yeah. I feel like with her current character, I think she can be a main event NXT Women's Champion.
So in a weird way, we have a three-way. Like, okay, Chelsea almost seems like the veteran coming in to guide these other two, i.e. Roxanne and Giulia, because it seems like that's where they're headed to. Maybe it could be a thing where they bring in Piper Niven as well, because they are a tag team on Raw, right? So you got tag team matches, 4-way, 3-ways. You have several permutations to play with there.
Yeah, and also we also got one other girl that's waiting in the wings, which I talked about on last week's episode, Stephanie Vecker.
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. Vecker.
Oh yeah, anyway, Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie, right? So, bro, they are cooking, and this is just NXT, like the women's side. So I'm very excited. And when she appeared right on the show, and it went dark, everyone was saying like, "Oh, is it the Wyatt Six?" But when she came out of the mist, I love all these Twitter comments because they give me so much inspiration, right? One guy said, bro, she is drawn exactly like what a Japanese anime illustrator thinks an American woman looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. She looks like an anime character of like a mixed race girl, Yeah.
Like
how they would animate her. Just the way she dresses, very genie-like. And bro, she was taller than Roxanne. So that immediately we was like...
Well, I mean, Roxanne is not a tall girl, so,
Who's I don't know, is or Alexa Bliss?
Is Cora Jade ready to come back? I mean, we might see Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade like forming a heel alliance, whatever. Anyway, so that's NXT. Are we done with the WWE stuff? Because it's time to get down to business.
Bro, how can you forget the most important thing coming out of NXT, bro?
What? Joe Hendry, Trick Williams.
I believe in Joe Hendry. When we did the last episode, we were previewing the show, but did you manage to watch the match, him and Ethan Page?
Yeah, I did. It was a fun match, I mean, we kind of called it, right? Like, Trick would eventually have to count the pin, even though he's like begrudging, but he's a babyface lah. So he's like, okay, shit lah, I have to count the pin, even though Ethan Page, quote unquote, cheated to win.
Yeah, I feel like Trick Williams and Ethan Page is going to be the rivalry going forward, like we predicted. Joe Hendry is like coming in for a cup of coffee, highlight the scene, and he's going to go back. His main goal to me is to elevate Impact Wrestling with whatever he's doing, TNA, and I think he should be a world champion for the end of the year. And then, bro, Royal Rumble 2025, bro. God. That's the one. That's his debut.
Say his name. You know what? Why not? I think that works. And because he's been on NXT already, so now you have him on TNA, on NXT, I think the fans would pop definitely for Joe Hendry.
You know he got an inbuilt feud waiting for him on the main roster?
With?
He's Scottish, right?
Drew. The two Scotsmen.
He said Drew McIntyre is actually his inspiration for all Scottish wrestlers. So he actually looked up and tried to pattern his career after Drew McIntyre.
The hater versus the meme guy. Okay, cool. Let's do it, man.
Actually, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I love it.
No, the promos by Drew are going to be legendary. But okay,
can you imagine him getting so annoyed by Joe Hendry and then Hendry just smiling and he like...
Correct, for sure. And he just Claymore kicked him one time. Okay, there you go. That's the WWE side of stuff. Yep. Let's get down to business. Like we talked about, let's set the context, right? If you're just joining us, Foreign managed to watch like the first half. I managed to watch the second half. So our powers combined. Let's talk about AEW All Out. Did they go all out? Yes, they did. But I don't know if it was in the right ways. Here we go. Just briefly talk about the pre-show, because let's face it, it's the pre-show. I'm looking at the matches on the pre-show. It's like tag team trios. Like basically they're trying to cram everybody in there.
Yeah. Okay, so I think how AEW does things is like they still lay out their shows as like a huge like to put it in a better word, like an indie exhibition, in the sense that especially their pre-shows is really about getting people on the card, showcasing them. There are some storyline threads here and there, but for most cases, it's really letting the wrestlers wrestle. I guess that's their philosophy. Whether you agree or disagree with it really is your own taste, right? But I have seen this in a lot of like very huge like supercards. They call it really a supercard, right? Mexico, Japan does this all the time. Even New Japan, their 0 hour equivalent is all these kind of exhibition matches.
So indie mindset lah.
Well, I would say it's like they approach it like a supercard.
Sure. Because they do it like that because they don't have weekly television. AEW has weekly television, but they're not doing it any justice. They're booking it like an indie show. Acclaimed start off the pre-show, for crying out loud. Versus the Iron Savages.
You know what? This is actually the spot where the Acclaim is supposed to be. Like pre-show, like because they were all in, right? They were in the triple threat. I feel like given where they are on the card right now, how hot they are, this is their level at this point in time. Unless somebody like Anthony Bowens like branches out and be his own star, or like, you know, Max Caster exhibits more heel heat, I think it's time for them to break out, to be really, really honest, my opinion.
They didn't even really have a good run at the top. See, that's the problem, right? Like we all have talked about how they were hot at one point, but Tony Khan dropped the ball on them, and then now they're just they slid right down the card. Like, is there no redemption for this tag team?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's okay. It suffers from the New Day problem. How do you keep a tag team interesting beyond like their first issue? You know,
bro, the New Day have been around for how many years? Like probably 3 times the amount of time as the Acclaim lay. Is not an accurate, like, you know, obviously now the New Day are a bit stale. And also, we didn't talk about how Odyssey Jones has been released by the WWE. I don't know if you heard about that. Apparently, alleged domestic abuse or something like that. Don't quote me on that. Someone go do the research. But yeah, in mid-push, he kinda released. So
that's terrible,
talking about the New Day, they've been around for way longer. Of course, their act is going to be stale.
Yeah, but they have been still in the last 3 years, right? But they had a solid, like maybe 6-year run where they were really a big deal. Like when I say like, how do you keep them interesting beyond their first like run of relevance? New Day was very, very hot and like part of the main card all the way until 2014 to 2017, 2018. But then their second act was when Kofi Kingston was going after the world title. So that breathed new life into the New Day. And then they had this whole period where all three were going after singles titles. It was Big E winning the WWE Championship. It was Xavier Woods becoming king of the ring. So that was their second arc. So what I'm saying is the Acclaim has finished their first arc, right? They really need something new. If they want to still be a tag team, they need a new arc. Either they have to turn heel, they have to refresh their character. This current version is too still.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, even then they got a win over Iron Savages. So that says what you think about Iron Savages on the card. Next
up is a trios match: Hologram, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes versus the Premier Athletes.
Okay, so the cool thing about Rhodes, right, for me is Rhodes is actually the reason why I watch Collision. So those people who say I don't watch AEW as much, I'm still watching Collision. So because I do care about, I think, Dusty Rhodes, I think maybe just because of a long time fan, right? So he's doing this tag team where he's like a consultant, bro. I become consultant for the Von Erichs. I'm gonna be in their team. I'm gonna be trios champions with them. Then I like want to mentor. Suddenly I got this mismatch tag team with Sammy Guevara. I like both things and their dynamics, but I feel so bad for Sammy Guevara.
Pillar, bro, pillar. No, he's being punished, right? Isn't he being punished for some thing?
Jeff Hardy? That's so long ago though, right?
But it's Tony Khan. Bro, you talk about them like they are some sort of well-oiled machine. Like, by now, we should understand that this is just a click show. You know what I mean? It's run by the boys in the back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, regardless whether that's the case, the fact that Sammy Guevara went on the card, and if he's taking his punishment like a man, like you know how Triple H eats shit for a bit. If he's doing it because he said, okay, you know what, I need to rework myself away from the bottom again. Okay, I can respect that, right?
Sure.
Because Sammy Guevara right now is literally a regular or Ring of Honor, Collision, Rampage. That's where he's at right now.
Isn't he a member of the Ring of Honor roster? He's not even AEW technically rostered guy anymore.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me, please, if I'm wrong.
But definitely who is a AEW guy is Hologram. Okay. I have nothing against Hologram as a high flyer. I wouldn't say he stands out more than a commander or whoever lah. They all have very similar names. But bro, his costume really too much look like a Power Ranger, bro. I cannot take it seriously. It's like, he looks like who or not?
Who?
He looks like the cousin of Power Warrior.
That's for you SPW fans, if you remember Power Warrior. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Of course I'm right. But again, it fits because it's a pre-show. Like this is the kind of thing where if you were to watch WWE back in the day, WWE Sunday Night Heat,
Velocity,
this would probably be it would be like your S.A. Rios versus Dean Malenko feud, you know?
Sure. There's another trios match to follow that. Of course, it's the Bang Bang Gang versus the Dark Order. Wait, who are the trios champs right now? Is it Bang Bang Gang?
No, it's Rhodes and Von Erich, I believe, right? Yeah. So
No, trios for AEW, not for Ring of Honor. Who the hell are the trios champs?
Okay, you haven't watched AEW in a while. They have combined the title, bro.
Wait.
The Bang Bang Gang, I think they combined.
Didn't PAC and the BCC win?
Oh yeah.
So they are the trios champions.
They combined and then they split it up again. That's what happened. Okay. So now,
stop it lah. The fact that you have to explain any of this means it's just too convoluted, and I don't care anymore.
It is convoluted for sure. But okay, now I remember. Okay, so BCC is the trios champion. And if I'm not wrong, the Rhodes and Von Erichs is the Ring of Honor, which they won at the Supercard. Was it Supercard of Honor?
Sure.
Or one of the Ring of Honor things. But it's not Bang Bang Gang. Bang Bang Gang won it previously, but I think they dropped it already.
Yeah, they lost it. Now I remember. It's supposed to be the BCC lah. BCC with PAC.
Yes, correct.
As we will find out later why PAC has been included, because now he's part of a new faction. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a bit.
Yeah, but for the sake of this match, talk about OGs who have completely lost their luster, bro. Dark Order, my brother.
They never had luster. That's why you're wrong.
There was a period where Johnny Hungy was one of the most popular wrestlers on AEW. Let's be honest. Come
And
on.
that says a lot about what they were trying to do back then. But yeah, I don't give a crap about the Bang Bang Gang. Obviously, we talked about how much potential they have, and the fact that they are on the pre-show versus the Dark Order. What a waste of time.
To me, the Guns,
Ridiculous.
Juice Robinson, like the fact that they're there, yeah, it's terrible. Like I agree with a lot of people that's on the pre-show, but the Bang Bang Gang shouldn't be. I would rather the Bang Bang Gang be competing for the freaking tag team titles again. Wow.
Yeah. No, bro, you cannot touch the tag team titles, bro. Those are like reserved for one team only. At this point, it's like, it's so obvious, it's not even funny. Let's move on to the next match. Oh, here's a whole bunch of people. The Undisputed Kingdom versus the Beast Mortals and Shane Taylor Promotions.
Yep.
Versus oh, Jesus Christ. Three-way trios match.
You know who's my favorite person on this match?
Who? Roddy?
I like, okay, Roddy is nice. Like, Roddy had a great run with the International Championship.
Yeah.
But like, my favorite is the Beast Mortos.
Are you being sarcastic or do you actually like this guy?
Bro, he's my favorite mentor since Mentor.
What?
You know Mentor?
Mentor, the guy with the big fake bull head, yes.
Yeah. He's my favorite Mentor character since Mentor.
Right.
Okay, you know what? One thing I have to credit this Mexican wrestlers, their gear is legit. Like I always thought when I was younger, right, I thought Psychosis had like the coolest gear. He looked scary. He looked like some sort of demon. And then like, of course, Jushin Thunder Liger. Like the gear does a lot to give a bit of mystique. But the problem with, I think, transplanting that kind of Mexican culture into American, I feel like, and I consider myself like a North American viewer. I watch WWE all the time, right? You can't have 6 people doing the same gimmick. If 6 people are all masked wrestlers with very cool masks, how do I differentiate? How do I care about one of them over the other?
Right. And it's not like they can promo, make themselves stand out differently. It's just 6 masked guys. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why for the longest time, Rey Mysterio was the only masked guy in WWE, right?
Yes. That was the whole point, right? And then, you know, everybody that has come since has had a very hard time trying to break that barrier, right? Like, you know, they had Sin Cara, they had the Luchas. They're trying with Dragon Lee, but still like, eh.
Yes, correct. So like, I feel like you are just cannibalizing your own potential fan base by introducing too many people. So that's my issue with the Best Mortas guy.
But that is AEW's entire MO. They cannibalize everything from, you know, over the top violence to number of title belts to number of masked wrestlers to a point where you're so bloated nobody stands out.
Yeah. There was a period where I actually really liked Commander. There was a period where I thought like Action Andretti was going to be the next, like, you know, John Cena kind of push with whatever happened with Chris Jericho. Like, there were so many people that had like stop-start pushes or like potential.
Well,
I mean, Wardlow, come on. Like, we already talked about it so many times.
I mean, this, you know, we don't need to go back into that. But okay, let's jump into the card proper.
Yes,
MJF kicks off the show once again. He's like, let me just get over with this and F off. MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, okay. So I will give AEW credit, right? To me, this is like one of their long-running storylines. Of course, MJF, when he came back, he was technically positioned as a babyface. He was mentoring Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, for, you know, whatever reason, got a good push. And I always saw him as like, he does potentially have some sort of like young guy charisma, but he needs to work with like really established names, right? So there was that period where they put him in a match with Will Ospreay, correct? So that was like, okay, time to elevate him up to the next level. And then MJF did the blindsiding, took him out. He was gone for 9 weeks, and then he returned at All In a very good spot. And to be fair, he got a really good reaction from the London audience, right? So there is heat for this feud. There is a reason for this. So I can accept that. Another thing as well, what I realized about MJF, right? He's very giving in the ring.
Yes, he's putting people over lah.
Yeah, he reminds me of Triple H in a good way. Like, you know, Triple H, how last time his reign of terror, he always like, people always complain that he just squashes people and buries people. But there was a period where he was so giving, like he was selling for freaking Chris Benoit. He was selling for HBK. He even freaking gave Shelton Benjamin a win over him.
Right.
I feel like MJF, despite his young age, he is taking up that mantle as like, okay, I'm gonna be this guy who gives and like really try to build up as many people around him as possible. And I think MJF was the recipient of that in this match. Like the way they structured the match, MJF came in all cocky. He even like had like this banner that come out and say like MJF, thank me later.
Yeah.
And they started off right off the bat very serious because Daniel Garcia didn't even do an entrance. He just ran in. He started beating him up. So there was this intensity to the match. This was a good worked match. Like, it's not a flippy shit match, which is a great credit to MJF. Daniel Garcia wasn't trying to be a flippy guy. And I think that's one thing I appreciate about Daniel Garcia, because remember that he had this whole rivalry with Bryan Danielson. Do you remember this?
Yes.
They were talking about how you should be less of a sport entertainer. You are a wrestler. That was the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that was the whole gimmick. Yeah, the storyline.
So this match actually showed that off. Yeah.
I'm interested to know, because I've said this previously, right? Daniel Garcia, his facials, his acting cannot make it. No intensity, right? He just looks like he's angry as opposed to he is angry. Did he pull it off here, or is he still like, dead face?
I mean, that dirt face is still, I think that's his default face. So we try not to hate people based on what God gave them, lah. But
it's nothing to do with that, what his face is. I'm not saying he's handsome or ugly or what. It's the intensity that you bring. You know what I mean? Like whether he can pull off being angry, being sad, and stuff like that.
Okay, Gaddafi brought up a great point. Like, apparently Daniel Garcia was supposed to win, but he hasn't re-signed with the company, so MJF won instead. So not sure whether that factor into the ending. But
what kind of ending? Would the MJF cheat though? Like,
of course he did, right? Okay, so what happened was, towards the last stretch of the match, I think Daniel Garcia really wanted to like injure him. So he went for, correct me if I'm wrong, those who watched the match, like he went for like a top rope pile driver. But I think that was after the match. What happened was MJF actually cheated by like low blowing Daniel Garcia, got the cheap win. But then he had the audacity to kind of tell Daniel Garcia to shake my hand, like, good match, But then, of course, Daniel Garcia wanted revenge. So that's where he fucking kicked him in the balls to return the favor to MJF, and then did the top rope pile driver. So it I guess the match was laid out in the sense that it was a well wrestled match with a lot of intensity. They didn't do stupid stuff. They kept it solely in the context of the ring. But then, of course, MJF had to cheat to get the victory, but Daniel Garcia wasn't gonna let it slide. So he kind of took some revenge, and I think he escaped into the ring, and he was like, "Yeah, this is not over, lah." So there's definitely gonna be some, callback from this feud.
Yeah, this carries on. Did Daniel Garcia actually super pile drive him, or did he attempt and fail?
No, he did.
He actually did. Okay.
So MJF actually they sold the injury. He actually got revenge on MJF for injuring him.
Yeah.
He injured back MJF. So MJF was, I think, willed off on the match.
Okay, MJF takes a break lah. Basically, he goes away for 3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe. But that's the thing, right? I feel like MJF, they are not pushing him back to the main card, but I think they're trying to build him as like a big selling point away from the main. So they're trying to build up more people, I guess. That's what they're trying to do. So that's why I think it's a good way to open the show by having MJF, because once MJF is out, like, okay, this is a good part of the segment, right? So yeah. So I would even say this is actually my favorite Daniel Garcia match I've ever seen here. Like him and
the list is not long, bro. The list is not long. You have to.
Okay, to be fair, Bryan Danielson and him had a great match as well. But
you know what? Then I can say tonight I saw my favorite Jack Perry match. It's not like the list is not long, bro.
Okay, one other thing that make this match work, and this is weird for me to say about the commentary, not because it's Excalibur or Tony Schiavone.
Nigel.
Nigel was there and he was great, but I really like Daddy Magic on commentary, bro.
Oh.
And the reason Daddy Magic was on commentary was because he's, of course, supporting Garcia, right? But I think he does a great job doing color as well. Like he reminds me of like when Mr. Perfect did commentary. I know it's a high bar, But Mr. Perfect had this like, okay, I'm this wrestler, but I'm still a full-time wrestler, but I'm doing like play-by-play here and there.
Yeah.
And I'm still biased to the people I like, but I can still call it on video because I have this professional respect for it. So he was shitting on MJF, but he was still like professional, not like how Tony Schiavone is like, you fucking idiot, or you suck, you bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shut up, bitch. You're like, what? God damn it, Tony.
No, not that. So Danny Magic actually helped me enjoy the match and gave me more context. So if you want to watch that match, watch it. Listen up for the commentary for them as well.
All right. The next match to follow is the Young Bucks versus the Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio and Wheeler Yuta tag team match, AEW World Tag Team Championships. Okay, random ass match that I guess kind of makes sense, if you take a look at what happens later. But tell me about this match.
At least it was a clean finish.
Was there a lot of like tables and bullshit involved, or was it just a wrestling match?
No, it was a straight up wrestling match. It was a Young Bucks tag team match, so that you had to expect the Young Bucks shenanigans. I like Claudio against Young Bucks, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you had that one serious guy who kind of anchored it together. So like, he's not gonna entertain Young Bucks flipping around. He's just gonna fucking uppercut the shit out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wheeler Yuta, he's still very meh to me. Like, they tried to make him like a badass.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like a skinny Steve Blackman, and Steve Blackman was so much better. So,
bro, this is not the last you will hear of Wheeler Yuta. But please go on.
Yes. Okay, fine. But I would say it's a serviceable match, but in no way did it deserve to be on the card as like a standalone. Like, this can be an AEW Dynamite match, but it's just a meh match to me, and that says a lot about
the Young Bucks and their not overness. How was the crowd though? Because they are in quote unquote hostile territory, right? It's Chicago. Yeah.
I think the crowd is so apathetic towards the Young Bucks that they don't even bother to like boo them. Like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And we'll get to that later on, but you know what? I'll just say it right now, right? Like, Jack Perry is more over than the Young Bucks at this point.
Yeah. And it's a credit to Jack Perry. I mean, of course, he got heat, but he's doing good job to maintain that heat, right?
Yeah. Whereas the Young Bucks are just like, go. Like, it's not even go away. It's like, we don't care,
Yeah. Okay. Maybe there was a period where I was like, fucking hate Young Bucks. Like, fuck, man. They are fucked up guys, or they're heels or whatever, right? But now when I see them, it's like, okay lah. It's like that guy that annoying guy at work, like, he just whatever lah.
You know what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's that sense of they're going to be there forever and we can't do anything. It's like the shitty manager who's been there for 10 million years because he smoked his way through his entire career. And you're like, okay lah, it's him again lah. Whatever he does, he'll never get in trouble because he can smoke his way through, right?
It's like, okay, this company is going to be so much better without him, but like, he's here, so this is why the company's like this. You just accept, like, it's a company thing.
That's bro, we can all relate to this, real life.
Dear God. Okay, but take nothing away. Like, I still feel that to me, the best thing about the Young Bucks is their athleticism. Yes. They are great with their tag team moves.
Agree.
They are great with their sports, right? But I feel like, how do you evolve beyond that? I think it's really the character work. And I know they have attempted to change out their character by leaning into this EVP thing. But I wish, like, other than calling themselves Matthew and Nicholas, do something that's dastardly. or like just have this manners. I don't know. Maybe they need to go back to acting school, bro. I don't know.
Go back. They go in the first place. They never were at acting school.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We got the next match is for the International Championship. Will Ospreay versus Pac.
So I've heard from what you say and some of the chatter on X that this was actually the best match on the card.
Well, are we surprised? I mean, okay, this is the best match on the card if you like that sort of flippy shit. Because you literally have two guys who are two of the most athletic guys. In terms of like a story, we kind of knew where like that part would just be a side quest here. It was quite obvious going into this, right? It's more of a showcase of athleticism. The fact that this whole feud kicked off with a Poison Rana on the stage, we talked about it before, but the fact that that's how this feud started sort of sets the tone for this feud.
Yeah. I mean, they had 2 weeks to build this up. I'm sure maybe I didn't watch enough Dynamite, but I'm sure they revisited their history from British wrestling.
Sure.
Maybe they wrestled in England or UK or had a rivalry. I do not know. But in terms of matching up skill wise, like both of them are probably each other's equal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I like the fact that both of them are like, it's like buddy matches as well. Like I know that he's a solid wrestler. He got the physique, he got the face, got the body. This is what I'm not as far as going to say that it's the modern day Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. I'm not saying that.
No.
What I'm saying is like they look like modern wrestlers, like not modern cosplayers, but wrestlers. You know what I mean? So
see, I would disagree with you there because
okay, tell me
ultimately. When you talk about the comparison Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, right? The shit they did look real, look stiff, probably safe. This shit they do looks cooperative. That's the one barrier that is very hard for me to cross. You know, when you are doing things that obviously you have to cooperate for it to work, that's like nope, that's performative already. Versus actually looking like a fight.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. So so I don't know whether this is a testament to modern wrestling, but a lot of modern wrestling feels like you say cooperation and sequences as opposed to being physical, telling stories and that kind of stuff, right?
And that's why a lot of people regard Bryan Danielson as the best modern wrestler. Like he will do these modern day wrestling tropes, right? But he still tells a story with it.
But I would argue the best modern day wrestler is Gunther.
Oh, well, because he's a throwback. Yeah, he's a throwback.
He's bringing a throwback to a modern era. Okay. But okay, this is probably not a hot take, but this is probably what I feel.
Yeah.
If AEW wanted to say like, okay, we are showcasing the modern style of wrestling, we're bringing wrestling to the modern era. The limit, right, that I want them to reach, right, like the furthest they can go is just Will Ospreay at Park level. If that is the limit, right, and then everyone else is like legit like the normal wrestling style and like you know proper wrestlers, and like to us like the crazy high flyers and the most cool technical innovative moveset guys are Park and Will Ospreay. I think AEW will be in a much better place. You get what I mean?
No, yeah, and it makes Will Ospreay stand out, but you know that that's not going to be the case because you're going to have your holograms and Guevaras and people lower down on the card being able to do such moves. Like, I mean, we talked about this before, right? Like, the only reason Rey Mysterio stood out was he was the only one doing those crazy, flippy, high-flying moves. If half the roster can do it, then you're not special anymore, what? You know, at the end of the day, I know it sounds like, oh, you're selfish, you're gatekeeping, but that's how you build main event stars. There has to be clear delineation and not everybody can do every damn thing. Same with the violence and the, you know, tables and thumbtacks and all that shit.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think Gaddafi brought up a really great point that okay, so the context that we were missing out is Bill Ospreay has always been compared to Park because I think Park was that OG British wrestler that made it in WWE. So I think like how Drew McIntyre was the litmus test for all Scottish wrestlers, for a long time Park was that litmus test. So I guess that was the backstory.
Sure.
But again, as a guy who somebody just haven't watched AEW or just casually picks up AEW, right? I wish that was purely communicated. And I know the commentators tried, but like I don't feel like, for example,
you know how they do it, right? You know how they do it. It's
it's
what's his face? It's Excalibur basically rattling off some. Oh, but that time in Japan, and it's always throwaway lines. You know what I mean? It's never like a thing where the production shows you footage. Sometimes they do, but their production stuff is always very short. I notice also.
I'll give a positive example of when AEW did it right. Like to me, I didn't care about Swerve and Bryan Danielson when they were first announced, like, oh, they're gonna fight each other. But then in that 2-3 weeks, the way they built it up, the way they made it about, you know, Bryan Danielson, whether he can wrestle or not, and then the way Swerve was saying, like, you know, I want to take you out of your misery, I'm gonna show you that your time has passed you by. Like, they built up enough heat that okay, by the time All In came, I wanted to watch. Bro, another better example. CM Punk, Eddie Kingston. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Bro had one promo segment 2 weeks before the pay-per-view, and that one promo segment, I'm like,
sold it.
They better fight right now.
Yeah. No, but see, that goes to the skill of the storytellers. They are all storytellers at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Just that some are better than the other. Some rely on cheat codes, i.e. flippy shit, to get the pop. Some rely on just straight up sitting there with a mic and telling a story. The emotional connection. Will Ospreay right now is like one of the top guys, you would agree, right? Like main eventers, right?
Yep.
But he's only there because of his athleticism. If he doesn't develop that connection, that emotional connection, soon, I fear that it's going to burn out. And then after, a few months, it's going to be, okay lah, we've seen him do the hidden blade, we've seen him do the flippy flop stuff. What's next? And this is the thing they really need to watch out for, because we all agree Will Ospreay is their man. Is the guy. He should be the champion at some point soon, right?
Yeah. If I was booking Will Ospreay, I'm gonna put my TK hat on, right? You know what I would do? I would love for him to become like a world traveler gimmick, or like somebody who is like, I've proven myself in all these other countries and now I'm trying to prove myself in America, and then like talk about how he's like a family man. Bro,
so Kenny Omega? You just described Kenny Omega.
No, but Kenny Omega is like a gaming nerd who got no family. I mean, like talking about.
Okay, sure, a bit different, but you just talked about Kenny Omega.
Okay, I want him to be like, what I forgot. Is he a Geordie boy? I don't know which part of England he's from, but he's like the more rugged side, right?
Bruv.
I want him to, he's like the bruv guy, right? I want him to like be all out, like embrace that part of him and bring that part of his culture, but also talk about how he's like, I've been on this journey, bruv. I was this kid from like Geordie who like, only stayed in a council house and council building, and I've seen the world. I paid my dues. I'm here in AEW. I want to prove that I'm the best in the world. And then I want to do it for my family. Like I want to be somebody that my stepson can be proud of. I want to be a worthy father, even though it's not my blood. Like, like those things are very real stuff, but can be great fodder for story.
Didn't MJF use that, the whole stepson thing? He used that against Will Ospreay. Now, Will Ospreay obviously is going to be booked into a program with Ricochet next. I don't know if you saw this, but they did have a backstage segment. Right? Will Ospreay was being interviewed, and then Ricochet shows up.
What, bro?
Remember what I just said moments ago about how they need to tell stories with Will Ospreay?
Yes.
Ricochet is not the man to do this, because Ricochet, we love him athletically. He is fantastic. He can do shit that, is just like sublime. But a lot of people in AEW can do it as well. That's one problem. The other problem is he can't do it on the mic. And I am sorry, but when he came in, it was the weirdest interaction. You know what it felt like? It felt like that new kid at school who is overly eager and came across awkward as fuck. That's what Ricochet came off. He was wearing a nice suit and everything. He's like, I was like, oh wow, that was so much awkward energy. I can't even.
Okay, I'm very conflicted on Ricochet because apparently he's a Linkin Park fan.
Well, nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that?
No, I love it. I love the fact he's a Linkin Park fan. So it's like I want to criticize him, but okay lah, I respect your taste in music.
Just
why?
Because of his taste in music?
So if you guys have been living under the rock, Linkin Park just announced a comeback and they have a new female lead singer, right?
Yes.
And have you heard the new song, bro?
No, I have not actually. It's good?
Listen to it. You close your eyes, right? It sounds like a female Chester Bennington.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. So it's good.
It's good, bro. She's good. Okay, anyway, that's not the point. The point is, she talked about I think there's a IG reel of her being introduced on Linkin Park's page, and then like the whole comment is really starting all the stupid. There's a lot of like toxic fans, right? They were like, you all will never replace Chester Bennington. Don't even try. Just quit. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And then Ricochet replied. Ricochet replied on the comments, bro. Okay. This guy has been a social media troll recently, bro. He has been like commenting, replying to people for no reason. I think he got a lot of free time, bro.
I saw it. Wasn't that his whole thing where he like a fan literally said, now that you're in AEW, I watch the highlights because I don't watch AEW. And then he got upset about it because he
Why
was
don't
like,
you watch the full match, right?
yeah, why don't you watch the full show, blah, blah, blah. And then people were like, hey, no, she's just saying, she's such a fan of you. She wants to watch highlights. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah,
so,
she's
like
she's supporting you, bro.
He fits right into AEW then with that response. I'm like, oh my God, you are that guy. Okay. Maybe that's his thing. Maybe he's like, I don't know, a bitter guy who's like, I didn't get my due, so now I'm here. Like, I don't know what it is, but I do not look forward to the promos. I kind of look forward to the match because we all know they're gonna run Will Ospreay Ricochet again, but you know what kind of match it's gonna be. It's gonna be a full-on acrobatic gymnastics routine.
Yeah, that's why I go back to my main point. Park and Will Ospreay should be the limit of this style of wrestling in AEW. Then everyone else shouldn't go beyond that.
Bro, Tony Khan knows no limits, bro. He's like, I don't care. I give you anything. Let them do whatever they want. I'm their best friend. So good luck. This is gonna be
let's take bets, okay, on the chat as well. You let me know your thoughts. Do you think Ricochet can become a world champion in AEW?
Wait, which world champion? There are a few. He can definitely be an international champion, a continental champion, a breakfast champion, a trios champion, a tag team. Confirm can. What? Maybe even, you know what? Yes, he can be a world champion because they pass that belt around. None of it means anything. The belts mean nothing. And that's the other thing too. You have so many belts. You have champions facing off against champions for one belt and not the other belt in the card.
Agree. But so to answer your question, you feel that he can become the AEW world champion?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay,
but you know what? I won't even go there. We'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see. But judging by TK's past history with new signees, he loves his transfers, right? He loves his acquisitions. It's gonna make for one or two interesting matches, and after that, it's gonna be back down to the pre-show.
Yeah, I am rooting for Ricochet to succeed. I want him to be good. I want him to be able to showcase a main event potential talent, right?
Yeah.
Because he should have replaced Rey Mysterio as this generation's go-to high flyer. Like, he has the talent. He's literally one of the best physical athletes I've seen in years, right? But like there was a period where Rey Mysterio also was like couldn't cut it on the mic.
Yeah.
But something about him, like, he grew into it. He became this lovable underdog.
But you see, here's the thing. Rey Mysterio still can't cut it on. I mean, okay, can't cut it is very harsh. He is not known as a mic guy. But I think how they made Rey was he was constantly the underdog. The perennial underdog. Batista, Great Khali. He was always
Eddie Guerrero.
Well, I mean, then there was the Eddie Guerrero connection as well. So there was always an emotional reason to support Rey Mysterio. That's the difference. It's emotions. Wrestling, yes, wrestling is best when you can pull people's emotions.
And now there's nothing for us to be emotionally connected to Ricochet because no more Samantha Irvin.
Anyway, I'm sure the flippy stuff fans are very salivating at the mouth for Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. And if you want to argue that they are giving us something for every fan, then sure, go ahead. But I personally am not exactly looking forward to it.
We are completely glossing over Park and Will Ospreay, but to me, this was from the matches that I saw, this was the best match on the card, in terms of, like, I was invested in the match, at least.
Sure, I'll give you that. Let's move on. Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale in a Chicago street fight. Holy shit! Okay, so they brought out all the freaking nonsense, for this one.
This was when you started watching, right?
This is when I started watching. The funny thing is when I actually only came in halfway. So when I switched it on, right, the first scene I saw was Chris Statlander bleeding, like freaking bloody everywhere in thumbtacks.
Holy shit, okay.
So I was like, oh shit, this is how we're kicking off. All right. You know what? I guess, okay, if you want to just say, some people are uncomfortable with the women blading and bleeding and stuff like that. To me, I'm like, if the match calls for it.
Okay.
I just am a bit like, it sucks that this match wasn't part of the main like featured matches on Dynamite on the past pay-per-view as well, because if we talked about that, like these two legit have more potential than some of their $1 million signings that they've signed recently.
Yeah, and they're homegrown.
They're homegrown. Yeah. So that's the thing with Tony Khan and his like, $1 million acquisition problem, right? He's forgotten about his homegrown talents, where you have two people who clearly, they're putting in the effort. It was a good match, if you can get over the whole violence of it.
Yeah. I think they should have done a straight up one-on-one match. It would have showcased them better. But of course, maybe their logic is, okay, this feud calls for this level of violence because they have been like feuding for a while. Maybe that's their thinking lah. But again, like Willow Nightingale doesn't need all this.
Nope.
Chris Statlander, yes, she can be vicious, but she doesn't need to be violent.
Yeah.
And I would root for Willow Nightingale to be like a AEW Women's Champion, Chris Statlander to be a AEW Women's Champion before any of the new acquisition signings, to be really honest.
You know why they made this a street fight, by the way?
Yeah.
Because every time they've been to Chicago, they have to have a Chicago street fight.
Or they have to. That's
I
the thing.
I don't know why it's a thing, but there was no other match here that called for a Chicago street fight, ma.
I see. I mean, why couldn't they make No, they already have Swerve and Hangman as a cage match. That should have been their only violent match of the night.
Bro, the next match also got bleeding. Okay,
dear God.
This is where...
I didn't even say MJF and Daniel Garcia also have bleeding.
I mean, once again, we're beating a dead horse, right? But if you are going to have bleeding, let it be in the match that needs it the most, that matters the most, and not every other match. Then it becomes like, another fella bleeding. Oh, great. The Moxley problem.
And Joe Moxley's not even on the card, I was just about to say.
Well, you don't know what happened?
Okay. I'll let you explain. Okay, but overall, so who got the win here?
Chris Statlander got the win over Willow Nightingale, so this is not over. Unfortunately, I mean, it's a street fight, man, with all the violence and, periphery, all the stuff. This should have been the blow-off, which should be won by Willow. So obviously they're going to carry on. Once again, the problem of how are they going to escalate? What are they going to do next? Scaffolding match? Steel cage? Like, you know what I mean? That's their problem. They don't know where to stop.
Yeah, but I would give AEW credit on at least one thing, like the fact that they allow the women to kind of take it to a certain limit to do hardcore. Because, in WWE, this will never happen, right? So
No, that's fine. That's fine. But as long as it makes sense in the context of what's going on. And it's like, in this one, it's like, if you close one eye, sure, fine. Because the problem is this is not a main feud. If anything, this should be happening in a main feud. And they are not a main event feud. Which is, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be. I'm just saying it's a shame, Yeah.
But again, kudos to them for building a separate, like, personal rivalry that is not part of the titles. I think okay, they at least they explain some depth in the women's division. But again, they are miscasted here. They should be going for the titles, my opinion.
Grasping at straws, bro. All right, let's talk about the next match.
Fuck you.
You're trying so hard to give them credit. All right, well, you know what?
Come on, bro. Willow Nightingale is really good, man. I'm a fan.
I never said she's not. Dude, I am in agreement with you. It's the booking that has completely failed them.
That one we both agree lah. That one I'm not even gonna try to defend
by next week, this feud is gonna be a random feud on Rampage. Like, you know
featuring Stoke Hathaway and Tomohiro Ishii.
Like, for what? Okay, anyway. Kazuchika Okada versus Mark Briscoe versus Orange Cassidy versus Konosuke Takeshita. 4-way for the AEW Continental Champion. At some point, Mark Briscoe bled. I think I was preparing breakfast, so I might have missed how he bled.
I only got one question, bro.
Yeah.
Did they do our boy Takeshita dirty in this match? I just want to know that.
Okay. I thought he had a decent enough showing.
Okay.
His new name is the Alpha, and he gets cheered. Like, I don't know why, like, somebody there doesn't like him or something like that. He just can't get a proper win here. And this whole match, right, is just to put over Okada again.
Okay, so it's an Okada showcase lah, almost.
Okay, if anything, maybe Okada has warmed up The first
Warm up to you.
No, not warm up to me. Is in like he didn't seem as old man as his last few matches, but because there were 4 people, so less time on him.
Okay.
So maybe he seemed a bit fresher. Remember, let's go back to Jenna. We were talking about the Japanese style facial expressions.
Yes.
Like maybe it's just a stylistic thing that I'm not used to, but I hate it when Okada and Takeshita are taking hits, taking shots, taking slams because they literally have no face. Like it's like
they're not selling their
yeah,
facials.
like you take a big huge bump and then they just get up and continue the next move. You know what it feels like? It feels like they are doing moves as opposed to taking a move and going, fuck, my back. You know what I mean? Like actual selling. This is what took me out of the match, right? Briscoe, you know Briscoe, like we all love Briscoe. I think he's super unique, and actually the Continental Championship I think would be great for him. His level, quote unquote. He's not world champion level yet. I mean, Orange Cassidy is Orange Cassidy, like that tired old act. Like, what do you want? You know?
Yeah. The thing about Takeshita is I feel like he has the biggest potential of all the Asian wrestlers, right? Like,
yeah.
I think even not just AEW, even in WWE, bro. I feel like who do they have is like young Asian guys. I mean, Dante Chen, of course.
I was about to say Dante Chen, bro. Come on.
Yeah, Dante Chen, sure. But no offense to Dante Chen. I mean, and I'm sure he will agree as well. Takeshita has the street cred, bro. I mean, DDT, New Japan, fucking like he had a few with Kenny Omega beaten him, Chris Jericho beaten him. And the only thing I do not know is his promo style. Like, can he cut the English promo or can he be... But he has that charisma of just presence alone, really.
Isn't that why Don Callis is his manager?
Yeah, it was supposed to be that.
Make up for the lack of promo skills or whatever. But like, is he a face or heel? Is Don Callis still with the other Fletcher? And like none of that makes any sense. And it's all just, fly by night sort of a deal, you know?
Don Kelly is just like vibes at this point, he's like just that. But if they commit to a Takeshita main event run, man, I think he should. I think he can.
Main event, as in against Bryan Danielson at some point?
Yeah, because he had that match before with Bryan Danielson and he pushed him to the limit, right?
Yeah.
He has proven that he can mix it up with Will Ospreay. He had a great match, so he can deliver in the ring. But again, what's the thing that's missing? That personality, right?
Yeah, emotion, connection with him. You know what? The same, honestly, can be said about Okada. At this point, he's just a one-note joke, as in the whole bitch thing.
Yeah.
Like, what else besides that? And apparently, he's a legend from Japan. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally nothing else. Not to say I don't enjoy the. I pushed the wrong button.
No, him.
I love that shit.
Him completely crushing over Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné is actually quite funny to me.
Oh yeah, it is, right? But it's like you pay millions of dollars for a Funaki. I mean, shit.
Yeah, the Funaki comparison is too accurate, bro. I really cannot. Very funny. Okada, bro. Let him fucking cut promos in Japanese even. Just give him a bit semblance of his aura back, please.
Yeah. That's why ultimately this match, I mean, it was a serviceable match, but he won and there's no actual storyline progression here. You know what I mean? There's what does that mean for the Continental Championship? It was just a match for the sake of having a match, right? So it is what it is. Let's move on then. Camille was banned from ringside for this match that absolutely no... Oh my God, this might have been the worst thing. No, it gets worse.
Okay.
Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship.
Okay.
How many times can I say maybe they have no chemistry before the truth will slap me in the face that maybe Mercedes is not that good?
Ooh.
Like...
but she was good in WWE. I mean, you all acknowledged it, though, right?
Maybe it was Bailey. Maybe it was Becky. Maybe it was Charlotte, man.
Maybe it was Bianca Belair.
Like all these people elevating her because here it was like, first of all, like, Shida has no aura already. They've sapped her heat completely, right? And then there were just these weird moments that are truly weird. Like, okay, so Hikaru Shida's finisher is the katana. It's like a knee, right?
Yeah.
There was a moment where I don't know what happened, if it was a botch. She hit the knee. Mercedes sold it very awkwardly. And then it was like, they did it again. And then they did it a third time. I was like, what is going on? Are they going for Cody Rhodes does the Crossroads 3 times, right?
Mm.
But no, it seemed, I think they were going for a spot that they botched, so they tried it again, and then they botched it. Like, it was very awkward. This match was very awkward.
If I heard from wrestlers, they say like, if you botch something, just move on. Don't try to repeat that move, because it makes it more obvious.
Yeah. And that's and that's all I remember from this match, honestly, because if you make it so obvious, it was like, and Mercedes Moné beat Hikaru Shida ultimately kind of clean, right?
Okay.
So there was no Camille. So she didn't even need her muscle. Like, the whole thing of Mercedes being a cowardly heel wasn't even here. So she just beat Hikaru Shida. And that's it.
My question is, what happened with Britt Baker? So what, Britt Baker lose one time, then they never fight anymore?
Yeah, gone.
Why wasn't there no follow-up? Britt Baker just returned, what?
I don't want to speculate, but it's exactly that, right? So just Mercedes got a win and that's it, lor. Like, the entire build for Mercedes, her entire run currently has been ultra lackluster, hasn't it?
I think they are not getting back their money investment, to be really honest. Like,
I mean, okay, whatever, but Tony Khan doesn't care. The money is not important to him, right?
No, it's not. But what I'm saying is, like, if you sign this lady who had the so-called the biggest aura, or like the biggest star from WWE, women's wrestler star from WWE that they could have gotten, shouldn't you make her your centerpiece? Like that's the whole point of you signing someone like that, right?
Yeah.
You make her their centerpiece, or at least you build her aura of mystic to the point that she's like the big bad heel. She's like the Brock Lesnar of the division, right?
Yep.
Like, they are ruining her mystic, even if she sucks in the ring or what, right? I think they are doing a bad job in presenting her, putting her in such positions.
It's a combination. That's exactly what it is. She's revealed to us that the WWE magic made her one step higher than she is. AEW doesn't have that magic, and now she's bearing out her truth. It's like Chris Jericho. It's exactly like Chris Jericho. There's nobody there to say, actually, you shouldn't do this. Let's try something else. Let's present it a different way so that you can be a bigger deal than you are, right? I hate to say...
Or like, actually, bro, you're getting fat. I think you need to lose weight.
No. No, but that's the whole point. I actually think that Chris Jericho should be getting a bit out of weight. And that's why he said in interviews before, that's why he wears these tiny, teeny trunks, right? He's making himself look disgusting so that you feel repulsed and go, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. And then he's winning and he's cheating to win. It's all part of the presentation. It's like, okay, I'll give you another WWE example. Sami Zayn. Remember when he was a heel in the, like, trying to get in the bloodline, he's a Weasley heel. He lost, he let go, no? He got scraggly beard and then the fat tummy, everything. But when he turned face, he had to slim down a little bit and be more presentable as a babyface. So I don't...
If it's part of the character, that's fine. But I think, like, the point that you were trying to make is like he had his own worst instincts being curbed by WWE and being filtered by WWE, right?
This match was like, oof. I don't know what it is. I feel like I really should go back and watch the MJF Daniel Garcia match and some of the other matches to rinse the bad taste out. Because, bro, let's move on to Brian. Huh?
Just wanted to hear the listeners' thoughts as well. Like, do you guys agree? Has Mercedes Moné been a bust, or do you feel like there's still hope for her to be worthy of the investment? I'm really want to know, because I feel like, are we in the majority? Are we in the minority thinking this? So
while we get on to the next thing, Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry, bro, the best Jack Perry match I've ever watched.
Dude, look at the opponent.
Well, yeah, no, look, I go back to what I said earlier. I think for this modern style, Bryan Danielson is the best, if not one of the best, because the man knows how to tell a story, right? Jack Perry came in driving a black van with the word scapegoat on it. Of course, they are really leaning. And Jack Perry in Chicago, there was the Cry Me a River chance, there was a CM Punk chance. I think he really is the most over out of this elite, that group bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that he has done that is very smart is he hasn't overexpose himself too much in this last run. Like he's kept quiet.
Mm-hmm.
He's kept his mistake. He didn't go on some podcast talking about I hate CM Punk, blah blah blah. He's living the gimmick, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't hate it. I actually don't hate it. And this match, right? So Jake Perry, okay, other than he a bit smaller size lah, but Bryan Danielson is not a huge guy as well, right? So it was a competitive match in that way that it's like you can believe
it looked a bit match lah. It looked evenly matched. Okay.
Yeah. It looks like okay, he could go toe to toe with Bryan Danielson. And Bryan Danielson, once again, he's another guy who's very giving, right? He's trying to put over Jack Perry, stuff like that. I'm not a fan of kicking out of Busaiku knees, once again, kicking out of finishers because I don't think Jack Perry deserves it, right? I feel like, unless the match has been built up to like a WrestleMania moment or all-in moment, I don't think you should be kicking out finishers. I still believe that certain finishers should be respected. That said, it was a good back and forth. It's like almost 30-minute match.
I heard there was a bit of interference towards the end. Okay. What was that all about?
So you had the Young Bucks, obviously, right?
Okay.
Came out to mild heat.
And the crowd went mild.
They really, they literally sucked the energy out of the crowd. It's them again, right? And so the other thing that really got to me, because the whole idea that every single Bryan Danielson match now is a retirement match. Because he said if he loses, he will, retire from full-time professional wrestling. Which actually, I hate that he says it like that. I wish they would say if he loses, he would be retired forever. Because by saying retired from full-time wrestling means can come back once a year. You know what I mean? It's how you present these things. I have a bone to pick with the commentary team. In this case, at no point did I feel like Bryan Danielson was in jeopardy of being retired. Because isn't that the whole thing? That this could be his retirement right here. Like Jack Perry has a chance to actually... At no point did I ever feel that sense of danger. You know what I mean? And the JR was on the call, but JR is not the JR of before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Shivani is useless. Like legit. Good call! That's a great call. Shut the fuck. Anyway, Taz was on the call and of course Excalibur, right? At no point did any of them give me that. Like I can just picture in my head if Michael Cole, it's kind of crazy, but in 2024, Michael Cole is the GOAT, right? But I can imagine Michael Cole screaming, not like this. You know what I mean? Like getting all upset that he's gonna lose he's gonna retire because of some interference shenanigans. When the Young Bucks came out, there was none of that. I felt none of that. Oh my God, it's really gonna happen. He's gonna get retired. It was like, oh, okay, lor, they came out, lor. And you can tell the announcers also because Excalibur he cannot pull that off. He's just an information faucet.
Verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, he's just oh my God. And talking about So I have to say this very quick side note, right? They have a DraftKings, what we call in the industry a live read. So essentially, a commercial, the announcer has to read the commercial, blah, 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 and you know how he does them, right? He will rattle it like machine gun like that. He did one of the most unprofessional things I've ever...
okay. Shit. Okay. As a media person.
Yeah, as a media person, right? You don't... In the middle of a live read, yes, you can screw up. You can trip over your words. But you don't go, man. Like, you don't break, You just blah, 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 DraftKings, da, 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 da. And he tripped over a few words. He's like, Like, you can tell he kind of frustrated. And I was like, bro, don't just gloss over it and move on. I've done it a million times. Like, legit, live reads and open talks, this is what we call, right? It's like you just read a script, right? Sometimes I will trip on the word. You move on because you are freaking professional. And he, oh my God, he just literally stopped, broke down and went, obviously he was frustrated. I'm like, bro, you can't do that, man.
No one covered for him? They just left dead air while he tried to recover?
It wasn't dead air. He let out an audible I'm so disappointed. And I'm so angry. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. You just
it's your sponsors, yeah. Your DraftKings house, yeah.
So anyway, I mean, okay, that aside, to me, I feel like the commentary team, unfortunately, let this match down. Because at no point did I ever feel Bryan Danielson's career was at risk.
Was Nigel McGuinness on the call as well? No.
No. Like I said, it's JR, Tony, Taz, and Excalibur, right?
Bro, but why not? There's that inbuilt. It doesn't
Tension.
like Nigel hate like Bryan Danielson or what?
Oh yeah, that's
see him retire. If he was on the call, at least he could push that narrative very clearly.
Yeah. And maybe it's because it's such a short, like it's a rushed feud, right? Like Jack Perry versus Bryan Danielson. Like what? So you can argue that there wasn't much build, but the whole match felt like there's no way Jack Perry could have won. And that's supposed to be what it is, but you could have milked it a little bit more, I felt, right? Yeah. Like I said, the match was fine. It was a fine match. Commentary team let it down. Young Bucks tried to interfere, but were chased away by BCC because Bryan Danielson, BCC. Makes sense, correct?
Yep.
Then Bryan Danielson gets the win. Here we go. All right.
Wait. Was there some sort of kill switch as well?
Yes, I'm getting bro.
Okay, go.
Let me tell the story, right?
Jump the gun. Let's go.
Yeah. So kill switch comes out.
Okay.
Blindsides Bryan Danielson, right? Killswitch, aka Luchasaurus, previously has a whole he like faces off with Jack Perry a bit, like, hey, what's going on? Like, are they back together? Then of course not lah. It's Killswitch because he's aligned with Christian Cage, who has the contract, right? So they're teasing the whole Christian Cage is now going to cash in because his contract thing is literally anytime, anywhere, like a Money in the Bank situation.
Oh, it's Money in the Bank. Okay.
Yes, the one he won at the terrible
Casino
Battle Royale nonsense gauntlet bullshit match, right?
Yeah.
And again, just like that match, this whole thing was just a setup. It felt very by the way because they wanted to set up the next thing. So, okay. By the way, Nick Wayne has been putting on muscle. I have to give him props. He doesn't look quite as skinny as before. So he's no longer Nick Plain. The Christian Cage family, the patriarchy comes down. They are threatening to attack Bryan Danielson and all that, right? Take away his championship. Then who comes out? The BCC.
Okay.
I jumped the gun there. The first person you see standing in the way to protect Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley.
Oh, okay.
Jon Moxley.
Okay.
In his new white t-shirt look, whatever, right? And then you got Wheeler Yuta, you got Claudio, you got Pac as well. So
wait. No Marina Shafir.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
They come out to protect Bryan Danielson.
All right.
And then Christian Cage is like, oh, okay, shit, the odds are even. Typical heel move, they back off, they zao, right? Yep. Then everyone goes in the ring, celebrates with Bryan Danielson. And then I was like, you can feel it already. You can feel it. You can feel it, right?
Okay.
And then Claudio uppercuts Bryan Danielson in the back of the head.
Oh, okay.
And this is where you lost me as a fan. This is where you lost me as a fan. Because, what happened next, right? They beat down Bryan. Typical heel stuff, whatever. I get the turn. There's nothing wrong with that,
Wait,
right?
including Wheeler, right? Wheeler also involved.
No.
Park also involved.
Wheeler is the only one who didn't know this was going to happen, apparently. Because Wheeler was being held back by Claudio as... Wheeler was like, no, what are you doing? As Jon Moxley...
Jon Moxley, okay.
Took out a Ziploc bag, like a plastic bag, and proceeded to attempt murder on the pay-per-view. Bro.
What did he do?
He put the plastic bag over Daniel Bryan's face to suffocate him to death. Bro, I was like, what the are they doing? They are doing attempted murder. Like you had arson last week. This week you have to go one step.
Okay.
I mean...
And this is not the main event yet, right? This is just a semi-main.
No. Bro,
okay.
I'm sorry lah, but I know this is pro wrestling. I know this is all make-believe. And yes, we've had vehicular homicide before. People try to run over cars, people with cars. That's still in bad taste. That's also in bad taste. I felt I was watching this and I felt very uncomfortable.
Okay, so Jon Moxley, Claudio, and Park tried to kill Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Where was Jack Perry in all this? He left
already. He rolled away and disappeared already.
So he gone. So that tease with Luchasaurus or Killswitch was just like, I just see you, you see me, but then that's it lah.
Yeah. Okay. It was to lead into the Christian Cage. But it left a very bitter taste in my mouth because...
How did Bryan Danielson survive that? I mean, he just got suffocated.
Yeah, officials had to come in, at one point he finally let go, but I'm like, dude, like, can you imagine? That's why I wondered, like, you had your relatives over, right? I want to know if, like, people who don't watch wrestling, what would they think of this? Because, like, I'm like, dude, like, this is a terrible, and you can tell, right? JR don't give two fucks already.
Yeah.
You can tell that he was half shooting when he's talking about, like, this shouldn't be in pro wrestling. This is too much. You've crossed the line. And there's a difference between, and maybe he was working, maybe he's so good he worked it, right? But there's a difference between him, like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like, when he gets angry at Triple H, what's that? Kick that
You
son of a bitch.
Yeah. You son of... Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm watching. Both him and Tony were both like very awkward after this whole moment.
Even Tony also.
Tony also like, oh shit,
what do you think, right? If John Moxley actually never told anyone, like only told like his crew or like Tony Khan, and then he was like, okay, I'm gonna do this crazy thing. And then like just get the announcers to react directly. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
So, like,
but, I don't know, man. Maybe here's the thing, like I watch violent movies, I'm okay with gore, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
but this really felt like, and maybe that's the point. Maybe, he's, Mox has always wanted to be this outlaw, this Nick Gage type fella, right? But it made me feel ashamed of being a wrestling fan.
Wow. Okay,
now I'm embarrassed watching this shit.
Now I want to watch.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, it's I guess what do you call it when you just can't help turn away, like when it's a car crash but you just can't help but turn away and watch it. Like,
but this I wanted to turn away and watch not watch.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, what do you guys think, listeners? Like, I mean, those who watch or those who didn't watch, like, how do you feel about AEW doing that? Because we have seen attempted murder in, was it TNA or was it Ring of Honor recently?
Bro,
no, it was NWA. Right?
Bro, I'm trying to search for an image, right? Literally, Google Images has it. When an image is explicit or unsafe, it will blur it out.
Yeah.
It literally has safe search on.
Holy shit. Can you share that on the screen?
There you go. A plastic bag over the head, bro.
What the hell, bro?
He literally tried to suffocate.
Did he spit out blood or just like that?
No. It's like, but dude, this, man. Like, I felt this was, I don't know, man. There you go. See? Plastic bag over the head. It's hard. Hey, Sports Keita, shout out.
Hey, what's up, bro?
I don't know. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm getting too soft. But this felt like an embarrassment to pro wrestling. And it was unnecessary.
I feel it's unnecessary. Secondly, because you guys have history. You guys are BCC. Like, like if Moxley wants to turn heel and do something like controversial, that's fine.
Yep.
But you can do so many things. Like you literally can beat him out and like DDT him, and that's it. Like that's really a big deal. Like, oh shit, the BCC are no more as it is, right?
Yeah. But going.
Okay, what does this mean for the world title picture? Because now you got Christian Cage in the wings.
That's the thing. I don't care about the world title anymore. This has left such a sour taste, right? It's like this has got, and once again, maybe that's the point. To take it so extreme that you shock everybody, make people talk about it. We're talking about it right now. So, but I guess
this WCW 2000 all over again?
It's ECW is what it is.
Okay.
Like, do you feel the energy in the room? The air just completely gets sucked. And the crowd even chanted, "That is murder." I was like, what the? That's hilarious, but also like, even the crowd was like, hey, that's too far.
Yeah. Okay, the thing is, right, I have to watch it to kind of like have my own thoughts on it, and I'm sorry that I didn't watch it before we go live. But bro, this is not even the main event. So to me, if I was a viewer, how can my main event top this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Attempted murder was done. Then what else?
They tried. See, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly it, right? Okay. It sucked the air out of the room so much that I actually got bored during the lights out steel cage match because of two different things. One, that very moment they attempted live murder on a pay-per-view, right? And two, we've seen this match before. The previous match was more brutal. So
the
you
previous
can't.
night with the blood drinking and all that shit, right?
You can't top that already. Remember, we talked about how the fuck are they going to top this? Well, they didn't. It was like they had, okay, so Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page. Let's get to that, right? Steel cage comes down. It felt like spots after spots after spots after spots. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much a storytelling match as it was I just want to decapitate you in fancy ways. So the cage is coming down. You see the both of them like struggling to basically put each other's head where the cage is coming down. So it would literally decapitate them. But of course, it didn't happen, lah. You know, build tension, blah, 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 that kind of thing, right? You had a cinder block, and they took bumps on the cinder block. Like, they look really jialat. Like, they were putting themselves through some shit. Like, and it's not the fake cinder block where it disintegrates, you know? Like, when they... imagine someone slamming someone on a cinder block that doesn't break. Bro.
You can tell it's legit like that.
Yeah, like I said, this match kind of lost a lot of its luster because
of what happened before that.
Yeah, what happened before that? Because here's the thing, you don't need staples. They did staple gun to the chest, staple to the face. Swerve had photos of his family and his house because, you know, Adam Page burned down his house, right? And then staple it to his face. Like, all that is gimmicky compared to something as simple as trying to suffocate someone to death with a plastic bag. Right?
Yeah. Like it ruins the match, lah. Basically,
that they did. Yeah, and the finish was Hangman taking a needle, opening up Swerve's mouth, put the needle inside the cheek, like inject. I don't know he inject or what lah. I didn't see a needle popping out, thank God. Maybe I need to look closer. But basically sticking a needle into his mouth and then smashing him with a chair shot. And it sounded loud and like crunchy as fuck.
Chair shot on the head, right?
Yeah, on the head. To Swerve, Hangman wins.
I don't know what to do with this information.
Bro,
I don't know what to...
You see, here's the thing. I came away from both main events feeling like it's the exact opposite of All In. All In, you felt good. You felt like, oh man, those are some great moments, right?
Yeah.
This pay-per-view, the two main moments made me feel ashamed of being a wrestling fan. Like, I was like, bro, this is just...
Damn.
This is the epitome of garbage. And the fact that you have so many talented people doing this, I was like, oh, geez, come on, man.
Yeah, I know what I want to do after this. I'm going to rewatch this main event. And I can't wait to see the post-media scrum to see how TK is going to justify all this. Like, I'm sure the reporters are going to ask these questions about all that stuff.
Oh, bro, you're so edgy, bro. How do you get away? Who comes up with these edgy ideas, bro? Like, you know, some of these, I'm sorry to say this, but some of these reporters are the worst. It's almost as if the prerequisite to be at the post-scrum is you have to praise Tony Khan before you ask a question. Have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, I feel like those people that are just happy they have the opportunity to be there.
Yeah.
But if you see the WWE ones, like you actually see like actual journalists from like Metro news station, you know, like the independent. So
correct.
It's
not. It's like they will ask questions like, "Oh, you know, that was such a creative finish," you know, and then ask about the booking. But must praise first before you ask question. You know, like Anyway, really bitter taste. I'm pissed. I feel like asking for a refund on my Triller. Not gonna lie.
Damn. The thing is, right, last year I didn't even watch AEW All Out, right? Because one, it was 1 week right after All In.
Yeah.
Secondly, the taste of them like fucking around or CM Punk or like pushing on the company was like, oh, this is I ain't gonna watch, you know, just out of protest, right? Now you're making me
bro.
want to watch it to see it, but like not really want to watch it anymore.
You know what will be interesting? Go and watch it and see if you agree. Maybe you don't agree, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. You know what I mean? It's fine. This is just my perspective and how I felt watching it. But tell me what you think. After you go and watch, you send me a message, say, bro, you agree, disagree? Maybe I'm like overreacting.
Rishi say TK not afraid for his life now. Got wrestlers suggesting murder spots all. HSLey say AEW is still a safe place to work.
Bro, we are so far from sports-based presentation. It's not even funny. I know, I keep going back to that, right? But it was one of the core tenets because WWE got so hokey. This really reminds me of the worst of WWE, the worst of ECW, the worst of WCW, right? And now it's like they haven't gotten, I don't know if they got their TV deal or not, but it's like they fuck care already. Anything also can do.
That's the thing, right?
Imagine going to the pitch meeting to a TV, executive, and then they showed you the footage of Jon Moxley trying to suffocate Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, why would people want to sign, right?
Jeez.
So before the show or before this pay-per-view, TK actually said that like they are like just a 1 yard line away from closing their deal with TNT and Warner Brothers and all that. I'm just curious, like has they announced it or like?
Nope.
Do you think whatever that happened today might change it?
I hope it would. If anything, they fumbled on the 1 yard line and now the ball is taken back the other way for a touchdown. Look, I mean, we all agree that it's good to have competition, right? But to me, this is the type of stuff that makes me feel ashamed of being a wrestling fan. This takes me back to the quote unquote the attitude era where they were doing way too risque things. That feeling of you feel embarrassed. You watch this type of violence or you watch this type of sexual stuff, right?
To me, okay, like just to talk about Hangman winning, right? Okay, maybe Hangman winning helps him become that like top heel that he's been threatening to do with this feud. So in a way, okay, fine. He got that victory.
Sure.
They need to end the feud already, right? I just wonder because I'm a fan of Swerve Strickland, but he's taken 2 high-profile losses in these last 2 weeks alone, right? Where does Swerve go? Like, okay, I just saw a few messages. Yeah, like where does he go after this?
I'm telling you, we've seen this story before. He slides back down the card. This is exactly what they do over and over again. No, let's take away the bad taste. It's hard to take away the bad taste because emotions run are key, right? That's the whole point of pro wrestling. But if you take away all that, right? Hangman is probably the most compelling he's been in a while. That whole image of him in front of a burning house is actually pretty cool. It's pretty badass. Yeah, right? Like you can have it in his video package at the back all the time. Now it's out there already. It's kind of like, okay, so we got arson, I want to know how they're going to top this. And I don't want them to top this. I think they've jumped right off that cliff of good taste at this point.
Yeah, when Mankind jump off the Hell in a Cell, I thought I would fade out. I think they just gone too far with their violence at that point in time. If this was supposed to fit into the Bryan Danielson story where like, okay, maybe my best friend is telling me to retire and fits into the whole storyline, like even then also I feel like, yeah, you're right. They didn't have to resort to this. They could have just done the turn, BCC kick out Bryan Danielson, and that could have been a good story point or selling point to talk about after the show.
Why did you have to try to
murder
him? It's just a bad taste. So once again, maybe in a few days, I think back, maybe it's not such a big deal. Maybe fine, it serves the purpose, the storyline, whatever, blah blah blah. But right now, just coming off the event of watching it, it just feels bad. It feels like
all right, how would you grade? I'm gonna ask an interesting question. How would you grade the show without that segment, and how would you grade the show with the segment?
Wow, once again, I need to go back and watch the other matches. I only watch half the match, half the show, right? So it's not fair for me to rate. But if you tell me, okay, from Chris Statlander onwards to Swerve Strickland, without the bad taste, I would give it a 7. No, 6. Honestly, a 6 because there were quite a few stinkers and not a lot of like emotional stories.
So it was a big come down from All In, in a sense.
It was a massive come down from All In. But you add the bad taste in my mouth from their decisions on that one moment and then the main event, quote unquote, the lights out match. I would give this a straight up 3. Literally that murder spot, quote unquote, took it down by at least like 3-4 points for me.
even if this was an angle, right? I also feel like
No, no,
there's no context at all to
no.
this.
Okay, so yeah, right. This is like we all know everything done is an angle. Obviously, he's not trying to murder him. Like it's such a
Yep.
weird thing to say this is an angle, right? It's like saying KD Vic, oh, it's just an angle. What are some of the bad taste angles that have happened before? The a lot of the stuff with Kane and the
even Muhammad Hassan and the terrorists, that's
yeah,
a bit too much.
It's an angle, yes, but it's a bad taste angle.
Oh,
right?
you know what's the worst ever angle in my opinion?
What?
Remember when Brian Pillman died?
Oh,
And then the next week on Raw, they actually got the widow to go and do a live interview. What the fuck was he thinking?
yeah. So it's a bad taste
Yeah,
angle
it's a bad,
that like
okay.
I don't know. Like even okay, like Triple H trying to pull out Batista's earring. Remember that moment?
Yeah.
It was brutal. It made you cringe, but you didn't feel bad because it's just the earlobe, lah. You know, like
it's a context of wrestling. It's not it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But if like to me, bad taste is like Eddie Guerrero dying and then Randy Orton say he's down there in hell. I think that's
right.
Yeah, I think that's a bit bad taste as well. So there are certain shit that has been done lah.
Well, how about VKM going into the car and it remember that bullshit?
Oh my god, no, that was on the trailer in the Vince McMahon documentary. So
yeah. I wouldn't consider.
Yeah, Seth Rollins' I think with Ray, you gotta feel. I agree that it's hokey, but it's not like I don't want to watch wrestling anymore. It's like okay, this is an angle, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Maybe
but it's beyond the point of like it's over the top. But suffocating someone, people have actually died. Like people literally kill people.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's just bad. It's just bad taste. That's all I can say. It's just bad taste, and it makes me not want to watch Dynamite.
Well, we weren't planning to watch All Out, but now that we did,
I feel bad that I watched it.
Okay. You said it was 3. Guys, if you share with us your comments, like what's your grades, letter grades, number grades on the show.
Yeah.
I would say, based on now I'm inferring. So this is completely subjective. I haven't watched the whole show, so I need to watch it before I can decide. Based on what I watched, based on what you told me you watched, and based on the angles that you told me, I'm like a 5. It's like a 5. Like 5 because I'm grading it on a curve, by the way. So that means I gave like All In an 8. Like I thought All In was really like the best AEW pay-per-view they had this year. This one is like going back down to the mean, but even below the mean, because like I enjoyed Revolution. Double or Nothing wasn't that good, but like Forbidden Door I didn't even bother watching. So like this one, the way you see it, like bro, they had Chicago crowd and they did such a show. Like come on.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I guess, you're generating some interest on Dynamite for Jon Moxley to explain his actions.
Yeah. One thing I would say that, yes, you do need Jon Moxley to go back into relevance because they do need stars, like, or at least recognizable names to be relevant and not stale. Like, I don't want a stale Bryan Danielson. I want a Bryan Danielson that's involved in top storylines in AEW, right?
Yeah.
So in that scenario, like, okay, I don't mind having Jon Moxley as the top of the card with a very compelling storyline, or Claudio finally being elevated. Like all those things, those are the parts of it that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
But like, how the hell are you gonna explain this or get this out of, like make people accept that what he did was justified? How is he gonna do that?
What they're gonna say? Oh yeah, it was a work. There were holes in the bag. Is that what Tony? The press conference might be interesting. Like, is he going to outright say, "Oh, this is all fake"? You know what I mean? So there's that weird like. I'm
surprised they didn't try to burn Swerve, or Swerve didn't try to burn Hangman in the main event.
Yeah. Oh, they did pull out. So in typical Hugh fashion, Hangman took out a piece of wood from his house, like a burnt piece of wood, and used it to whack Swerve.
Lame lah. Okay.
No, but go and watch it for yourself. Don't let my thoughts color you. But it is what it is. I said what I said. We'll see how Tony Khan reacts to the criticism and stuff like that. So, all right. Yeah, maybe I'm just soft, bro. Maybe I'm just soft.
No, I don't know. Like, thanks Gaddafi. He also shared his grade 6 out of 10. So I mean, objectively, that seems to be the mean score, like the average score. People are seeing the same thing. The last two All Outs hasn't been that good, bro. And I think a lot of it is because
The build.
the company is focusing too much on All In because it's their new cash cow, right?
Yeah.
The last good All Out was the All Out which caused the fight, the backstage fight with CM Punk.
Bro, the main problem here is because of the 2 week, 1 week build. Just smarten up and move it to like 4 weeks away. At least you got time to build up some storylines or compelling feuds and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Okay. So, from what they've discussed, right? All In next year is gonna be in Texas, so it's gonna be earlier in the year. They're gonna keep All Out, I think, around this period, and then maybe they're gonna shift around Forbidden Door.
Yeah, Forbidden Door is gonna be in August, lah. So Forbidden Door replaces All In London at the thing.
Yeah. Why not just make All Out a September pay-per-view, but middle of the month or later in the month? Then that still allows them to keep the same slots, but not have a 2 week. You know what I mean?
To be fair, it's business dealings. We have no idea what it is. Maybe it's part of contract, you know. So that one we can't say too much, lah. But if you are forced to do 2 pay-per-views in 2 weeks, then make sure you have proper number of storylines that can and can sustain such a thing, you know.
Yeah, I think overall the last 2 years have shown that you are killing your All Out brand by doing All In so close. I hope they rethink their strategy. It's not too late. And John Moxley, bro. So John Moxley is gonna be the big talking point coming out of All Out, lah. That's what I'm hearing.
Bro, remember when he was gone and it was good, and then now he's back and he's worse than ever.
When he was gone, it wasn't that good. But now that he's back, I don't know whether it's gonna be worse. But I don't know.
He is playing out his Nick Gage fantasies.
It's hard. It's hard for me to like I'm so disappointed because 2019 John Moxley was my favorite wrestler of the year because he was that first guy, that first full-time wrestler from WWE that made the jump to AEW and like all the possibilities that came with you. Like, holy shit, right? Then that first year, John Moxley, bro. Yeah.
Bro, then we realized that he is just an indie garbage wrestler. And, you know, there was a reason why he had a cap in WWE because that was all his mind was for, is to just do this sort of violent, over-the-top shit.
The craziest thing is like Roman and Seth Rollins, they used to be equals with John, right?
Yeah.
John Moxley. But now they are just completely different lanes, different levels, bro.
Yeah.
Can you even see John Moxley and Roman Reigns together?
No. Did you hear about how his promo and his whole character is supposed to be based on some movie? His new character?
Helter Skelter.
Is it?
Yeah, Russell Crowe. No, sorry, not Helter.
Movie. No.
I don't know what's the name.
Somebody in chat who knows, let us know. Because it's supposed to be based on some indie Australian movie about a bunch of racists, but
neo-Nazis, right?
Neo-Nazis, but the line was, "This is not your country anymore" in the movie, but on air he said, "This is not your company anymore," right?
Rishi brought up a very good point. How are they going to involve Renee in this, or actually explain away Renee? Like, she's gonna be in the backstage segment. I'm actually curious to hear what was her immediate thoughts right after the show.
Right.
How are they gonna justify that? How are they gonna separate the reality of like already still doing backstage stuff and knowing that her
husband just tried to suffocate someone?
Yeah.
Maybe on Wednesday he comes out and says, "Oh, actually, I had your life in my hands and I knew when to pull the trigger or let go." Or so you know what I mean? Maybe you say something like that.
Renee literally just interviewed the wife, Brie Bella, a few weeks ago.
Oh, are you serious?
They did like a backstage or like a one-on-one sit down before.
Okay lah. That one is kayfabe. You know, one is acting, this one not acting. This one is acting. You know, the back got whole one, bro. You don't know only. This is avant-garde wrestling, bro. You don't know.
I don't know. I don't want to know, bro.
Okay. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us on a special Sunday edition post All Out. If you haven't watched it, maybe you did buy it. Go and finish watching it. And Discord is always open for discussion.
Yes, Discord is always open. Thank you so much, guys, who support us on Patreon. For those who didn't know, so Patreon just did an announcement that they're actually allowing you to purchase certain posts or exclusive content at a one-time fee. So you don't have to be a monthly member of the Patreon. So I know a couple of our local wrestlers have been asking us like, hey, can you share across like the SW20 ratings, our star ratings from our Singapore Wrestling Top 20? Now you can just purchase it and you have access to the entire collection. So everything that we have reviewed from the start of the year all the way until now and all your star ratings, we have it available for you to purchase if you are interested. But at the end of the year, we are going to compile it and do a proper top 20 listing. And we're going to put it out for sale through our Patreon as well, for sure.
Yes, can't wait for that. But meantime, though, everybody have a great week ahead. Remember, your tribal chief, one and only tribal chief, is the infamous Tonga Loa. We cannot ever forget that. we need a Tonga Loa moment to bring in the levity after such a grim, review.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks guys. Please enjoy your day. Please rewatch. Let us know how the freaking TK press conference goes. I'm also curious. And I'm going to enjoy my banana and watch a bit more wrestling tonight.
All right. In the meantime, as always, it's Mr. Young.
And it's Forward in the building. Take care.